Hello footy fans, welcome to the opening episode of the ultimate AFL Wrap Up Show for 2017. This is the show where I review all the weekend's AFL action, including every round of the AFL season. Now in today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing the opening round of the JLT Community Series, the pre-season series. It was great to have the men back in action. So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight in to having a look at week one of the JLT Community Series. So the JLT Community Series started on Thursday night between the two teams who traditionally play on Anzac Day, Collingwood and Essendon. A lot riding on this game. I know it was a pre-season game. Score doesn't really matter, but Essendon, well, a lot of players were coming back after a year out of the game due to suspensions. So a lot was riding on Essendon and even Collingwood as well. Of course, it's a big year for them. Of course, if they don't make the finals, then you would have to say that Nathan Buckley is going to be sacked. So, look, a lot riding on this game. It was great to have footy back, and, well, it was a great start to the game. Bombers kicked the first goal of the game at Etihad Stadium. Collingwood hit back shortly after. It was a 4-point lead to Collingwood at quarter time. But the Bombers actually hit back in the second quarter, got some momentum. Collingwood did come late, but Essendon had the half-time lead, 5-4 Collingwood to Essendon 6-5. And then the third quarter was really all about Essendon. They were able to make it a really good lead at three-quarter time. Like the second quarter, Collingwood hit back late, but Essendon did lead at three-quarter time, 12-9 to Collingwood, 9-4. But Collingwood kicked a couple of super goals in the fourth term and actually got themselves back in the game and was actually able to win the game by 11 points. The final score, 2-13-9, 105 Collingwood defeated Essendon 0-14-10. 94. So Essendon, they had the lead at three-quarter time, but unfortunately Collingwood, to the Pies' credit, were able to come back and win the match and get their first win of season 2017. It might just be pre-season, but I'm sure a lot of the fans and the players will take a lot of confidence out of that. So the super goals for Collingwood, Dunn and Varco kicked super goals, no super goals for Essendon, of course. And the goal kickers in this match, Collingwood's goal kickers, Hoskin, Elliott, kicked two, as well as Crisp and De Goey. And then White, who took a brilliant mark in that game. Varco, Phillips, Moore, Main, Elliott, and Aish kicked singles. Great to see Elliott back on the park as well for the Pies. And then the goal kickers for Essendon, Vantasia got 4, McKernan got 3, Collier and Green, of course, Green coming over from the Brisbane Lions for a second crack in the AFL. Essendon got 2 goals. Stewart, McDonald, Tippenwoody and Howlett got singles each. And then the best players, Collingwood, Phillips, De Goey, Smith, Sidebottom, Greenwood, Ramsey. And then for Essendon, Vantasia, well, clearly the best on the ground with 4 goals. Parrish, Merritt, Watson, McKernan and Dia getting in the best players as well. Some disposal numbers for you. Merritt got the most on the ground with 25 disposals. Phillips got the most for Collingwood, 22 disposals. And Joe Watson, who was named in the best players, he had a really good return game, I thought. 19 disposals. He had a lot of influence early. He was getting a lot of the ball in the first quarter and even the second quarter. But the first quarter, I noticed, he was in the action early. And so he had a good return, no question about that. Now, the injuries for Collingwood, Sinclair comes away with a hamstring. Not really sure at the extent of that. It may be a month out of the game with a hamstring. So that's a little bit of a concern for Collingwood. Essendon did get away from this game without any injuries. And over 16,000 people headed to Etihad Stadium to watch the opening JLT Community Series match for 2017. At UTAS Stadium in Launceston, Tasmania, Hawthorn were taking on Geelong. Of course, these two teams did meet in the finals last year, the qualifying final. The Cats won that one and went through to the preliminary final stage. We know that. Of course, Hawthorn ended up losing in week 2 to the Dogs. So, first meeting between these two teams since that final. And, of course, Jared Roughhead was captaining the Hawks for the first time in this game. So, look, the Cats kicked the first 2 goals of the game, got off to a bright start, but then the Hawks hit back and kicked the next 5 goals. The Cats did get a 9-pointer after that, but they did trail at quarter time. Hawks led 6-2 to 1-2-1. In the second quarter, Hawthorn just carried on with their ways, 11-3 to 1-3-1. I forgot to mention Jared Roughhead did kick a goal in the first quarter, by the way, so Hawthorn led at half-time. But to the Cats' credit, they actually were able to come back. They were 41 points down, and they were able to come back and lead into the fourth quarter, which was very good from their point of view. But look, a kick on the siren from Hawthorn basically gave them the win. The final score 0-15, 8-98. The Hawks defeated Geelong 1-13-7-94 at their home away from home in Launceston at the newly named University of Tasmania Stadium. Let's go through the super goals. Geelong's, the only super goal of the match was from Geelong. Mackie kicked that one. And the goal kickers for Hawthorn, Rioli kicked 3, Schoenmakers, Stewart, Langford kicked 2 each, and then McAvoy, Roughhead, Shields, Burgoyne, Hardtongue and Smith kicked singles each. And then for Geelong, Black kicked 4, Hawkins kicked 2, Taylor, Motlop, Guthrie, Buse, Patfit, Henry and Bixarves kicked singles each. The best players, Hawthorn's Roughhead got in the best players, as well as Rioli, Smith, Stewart, Burgoyne and Frawley. And then from Geelong's best players, Dangerfield, Mangola, Tui, Black, Smith, Ruggles and Lang all got in the best players. And then the injuries for Geelong, not for Hawthorn. For Geelong, Henderson with a hip and Guthrie with an ankle. So hopefully that's not too severe from a Cats point of view. And then the crowd was quite good at UTAS Stadium, just over 8,000 people at York Park. So there you have it. That is the Hawks and Geelong. Hawks getting away with the win against the Cats, and I guess getting some sort of revenge after that qualifying final loss. Although it is pre-season, not really about the score, more about the game time and the performance, I guess, from players, not really about the score. But I guess you can take some sort of revenge from that. From Friday night we go to Saturday, where 2 games were played in the afternoon, one in Sydney and one in Melbourne. We'll start with the first game. It was the Greater Western Sydney Giants taking on the West Coast Eagles, and this game seemed to be in some ways a little bit one-sided, because the Giants were just able to lead the game all day. They led at quarter time 4-3 to West Coast 1-0. At half time it was the GWS Giants 6-4 to 4-3 West Coast. At 3/4 time 6-6 to 4-5, and then the final score was the Giants 10-10-70 to the West Coast Eagles 5-7-37. This was at Narendra Sports Ground. There was no super goals in this game, but the goal kickers from the GWS Giants, Patton had a good day. He kicked 3, Lloyd kicked 2, Tazani kicked a single, as well as Magonzu, Downey, Reid and Moore. And from the West Coast Eagles, who didn't really have their strongest side, they didn't have Mitchell debuting in this game, but the goal kickers, Metama, Bayok, Yeo, Company and also Land kicked singles each in this game. And the best players there, Kelly, Wilson, Magunzu, Torrento, Patton, Setterfield. For GWS got the best players, and then for West Coast Eagles, Sheed, Hutchings, Watson, Wellingham and Jetta. So that is the best players there. They had just over nearly 4,000 people there at Narendra Sports Ground. And the injuries from the Giants, Zach Williams has injured himself And West Coast have also taken one injury out of this game, Will Schofield with an ankle. The final game of Saturday was at Whitten Oval between the Premiers, the Western Bulldogs, and Melbourne. And this was a good game, I must say. Melbourne did have the lead at quarter time, 4-2 to the Dogs, 2-0 at Whitten Oval. At half time, the Western Bulldogs were 1-6-3 to Melbourne, 8-3. Melbourne did lead at three-quarter time, 12-5 to 1-8-4. And actually Melbourne were able to win, not comfortably, but they did win. The final score, the Western Bulldogs 2-9-14, 86, defeated by Melbourne 0-14, 8-92. Cloak, he had a good day actually for his new club. He kicked a super goal as well as Johannesson. No super goals for Melbourne. And then the goal kickers for the Western Bulldogs, Dalehouse, Hunter kicked 2 each. Cloak kicked a single. And then Dale, Lynch, Daniel McLean also kicked singles. And then from Melbourne's goal kickers, Hogan kicked 4, Whitterman kicked 2, Petrarca, Gawn, Viney, Bug, Jones, Neil Bullen, Brayshaw and Garlick kicked singles each for Melbourne. The best players, Dalehouse, Hunter, Liberatore, McLean, Cloak and Murphy all got in the best players. Good to see Murphy back out for the Western Bulldogs. Of course, that injury was so sad last year. So great to see him return, especially in the pre-season. I didn't expect to see him until round 1. So that was a bit of a surprise. And he got in the best players too and had a good, successful return. The best players for Melbourne, Hogan, Viney, Lewis, O'Mcdonald, Salem, Jones and also Gawn. So that is the best players for Melbourne. There is some injury concern for Roughhead from the Western Bulldogs. He has done a right knee. Not sure how long he's going to miss yet. It may be a month or so. It's not too good there from a Western Bulldogs point of view. And Wagner has done a right ankle. So one player each team to come out with an injury. And just over 7,000 people packed into Whitten Oval to not only see this game but also the women's game as well. So the D's getting off to a good start in this pre-season. They get a win. On Sunday, 2 games. I start with the first one, the grand finalists Sydney taking on the I guess the disappointing team of last year. They did finish in the top 8 but got knocked out in week 1, and that is North Melbourne. It was an interesting game, this one. Sydney did have the lead at quarter time, 3-4 to North Melbourne, 0-2. The Kangas didn't kick a goal in the first quarter. They did kick 3 in the second quarter though, and Sydney kicked 2 goals. They still had the lead at half time, 5-6 to 3-6, a 2-goal lead there for the Swans. It was quite close in the 3-quarter time score, 5-12 Sydney to North Melbourne, 5-8, and then in the end it only came down to 3 points, and North Melbourne won the match. The final score, Sydney 8-15, 63. Defeated by North Melbourne 9-11, 65. Let's go through the super goals. Well, we won't go through the super goals because there was no super goals kicked in this match. But the goal kickers, Sydney, Ferrent kicked 2, Cameron, Kennedy, Robertson, Hannelbury, Fox and Footy kicked singles each. And then from North Melbourne, the goal kickers were Wood, Hovat kicking 2 each. Hovat at his new club, of course, Higgins, McDonald, Turner, Mountford and Cunnington getting singles. And then the best players, Sydney, Mills, Heaney, Jones, Hannelbury, Hewitt, and then North Melbourne, Zeeble, Higgins, Hovat, Cunnington, McMillan, Atley and also Prius. And there was no injuries to talk about from both these sides, so they get away from this game with no injuries. And then just over 3,000 people went to watch the game at Coffs Harbour International Sports Stadium. And then the final game of week 1 of the JLT Community Series was between the 2 Queensland clubs at Conberry Park. And Gold Coast led at every change and won this game against the Brisbane Lions. The final score 0-11, 15, 81. Defeated the Lions 176-57. Only one super goal to talk about, and that was from Freeman from the Lions. And the goal kickers, Grant kicked 3 for Gold Coast, as well as Ainsworth, Joyce, Lynch, Schofield, Hanley, Barlow, Colajasny and Miller. They only got singles. And then the Lions goal kickers, Lester kicked 2, Martin also kicked 2, Skay, Robertson and Robertson kicked singles each. The best players for the Gold Coast: Hall, Hanley, Miller, Thompson, Barlow, and then from the Lions, Bewick, Zorko, Lester Gardner and Taylor. And a bit of an injury concern here for the Gold Coast Suns. Sam Day has done a hip, and it's probably likely that he'll miss most of the season, if not all the season. It is a season-ending injury. That's what we're hearing. So not very good there from a Suns point of view. But just over 2,000 people went to watch this game at Combermary Park. So there you have it. That is week 1 of the JLT Community Series. Okay, time now to have a look at the ladder after round 1 of the JLT Community Series. There's no official ladder. It is just practice games here in this series. But just to make it a little bit more interesting and just to kind of see where teams would stand if there was an official ladder, I'm going to present the ladder each and every week after each round of the JLT Community Series. So let's have a look at this non-official ladder. GWS top of the table there. Gold Coast Suns are second, Collingwood third, and then the Melbourne Demons round out the top 4. Hawthorn there on 5th, and then North Melbourne, who got a win, rounds out the top 6 there on 6th position. The Swans are on 7th, the Cats on 8th, the Western Bulldogs, the premiers of last year, on 9th. 10th is Essendon, and the Brisbane Lions are 11th, and then the West Coast Eagles are 12th there. Of course, the teams below them have not played a game yet in the JLT Community Series. How good would it be if there was an actual ladder, and the team who finished top of the table gets some sort of prize money or a trophy or something? That'd be pretty good, I reckon. But of course, they don't do the competition stuff anymore, and that is okay, because the teams do want to have a lot of focus on the proper season. So there you have it. That's the ladder after week 1 of the JLT Community Series. And that is it for the opening episode of the Ultimate AFL Wrap Up Show for 2017. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Subscribe, because I also have another AFL show called the Ultimate AFL Preview Show, and I'll be uploading another episode of that this Wednesday, Thursday. So don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date to that. Of course, I'll be previewing week 2 of the JLT Community Series, so I look forward to doing that. And of course, I'll be back with another episode of the Ultimate AFL Wrap Up Show next week. Of course, don't forget to check out all the other content I do. And until next time, I'm Jacob. See you later.